Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for part 4 of the Monday Q&A. So let's do this one. Well, chin-ups, deadlifts, and face pulls done twice a week build a well-developed back. My main concern is that I might miss out on some upper back development. I also squat twice a week as well. Yeah, I think that'll get it done. You're not missing any major muscles. Everything's getting properly stimulated with those 3 movements. You can build a well-developed back off of that unless your back genetics just suck, in which case you're probably going to need some rows also. I generally don't think that anyone needs both rows and chin-ups at the same time unless their back is just a lagging muscle group. That I think a deadlift combined with some sort of chin-up or pull-up, or a deadlift combined with a row will get the job done. The face pulls are just there to bring up the rear delts, and it's a good pre-hap exercise. And of course that extra rear delt work finishes off how you're going to look from behind. That will generally get the job done. Trap development, if you're not genetically best in the traps, you might need some shrugs, but that's going to depend on the individual and how you respond to the other exercises. So again, it comes down to genetics, but there are plenty of people out there, a good segment of the population, who, if they train hard enough and heavy enough on those 3 exercises you listed, should be okay. And if you're not, then you have to assess that as an individual and add in the rows and the shrugs and whatever you happen to need. All right, next question. Jason, when trying to drop weight for sports, rowing in my case, whilst maintaining or retaining muscle, would you reduce caloric intake or increase overall workload to be least detrimental to performance in said sport? Well, you can't decrease your workload in your actual sport, and I think you meant increase workload in the gym. I would be reluctant, if you're already a hard training athlete, to do more weightlifting to lose weight to create a bigger calorie deficit. You may bury yourself with the workload. I would generally recommend reducing calories just slightly. And if you need to, increasing your workload on all your endurance work that you're doing for your sport. But you need to assess your individual recovery when you start increasing workload. If you're a hard training athlete, and you're watching my channel, you probably weightlift also. So you're already lifting, and then you're doing all your rowing. Your workload is already really high. You burn a lot of calories. You may not really benefit further by adding more to it. You might just beat yourself up. So I would go ahead and consider dietary manipulation first and see how it goes. And the thing to remember though is that with a serious athlete, a performance-based athlete, you cannot drop weight quickly. You can't do like these bodybuilders do and go, oh, I'm just going to lose 2 pounds a week for the next 10 weeks. You try to do that as a performance athlete, you could find yourself in trouble very quickly. All right, next question. Thoughts on adrenal fatigue? Lyle doesn't believe it actually exists. God, this one is so debated. You know, I'm extremely skeptical that it exists. And by skeptical, it means I would like to see some evidence. I agree absolutely that there are central nervous system, and particularly seem to be peripheral nervous system fatigue involved with your training. And it absolutely can affect performance. It affects recovery. But as far as it actually being the adrenal glands themselves reducing output because of the adrenal response from training hard, it's a cute theory. I don't see the evidence for it. But at the end of the day, we know how the body seems to respond as far as the nervous system. Maybe not, we don't understand the full mechanisms behind what's going on, but we know how it affects it in the real world. And so we do know how basic recovery works, and so knowing whether the adrenal fatigue or not is real isn't relevant to it. And it might turn out to be real, but I really haven't seen the evidence for it. And while some coaches do believe in it, I do know a lot of coaches who don't. I know some very intelligent, very educated coaches who think it's just a myth. All right, guys, so that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it has been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 5.